Xbox Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com. Okay, and Chance interrupting my caca story. I just had to close the bathroom down here because it smelled so bad, Chance. That's how stinky. Oh, hello. Daddy Diwali here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 22. Joining me, as always, are my assistant to the co-hosts. Number one assistant to the co-host, Chipotle Bear. Chipotle Bear, how are you?
I am doing great, Daddy Diwali. It's officially the end of September. Tomorrow is the official start of spooky season, even though that's been going on for weeks here in my household. So super great, man. Unfortunately, my kids are a little sick these past couple of days. There's a bug going around. If you got the small children, watch out. Daycare, school. But otherwise, doing real
kids?
Great, man. Excited to talk about some Xbox news tonight with you fellas.
Me too. How'd your kids? How'd your wife? Because that puke bug's going around. Joining us, as always, the assistant to the co-host, Bubble Boy and Seven. Bubble Boy, how are you?
Great. Happy to be here. Cora also has the sniffles. So, yeah, it's real.
Well, everyone's going to get COVID eventually. Well, gentlemen, let's start the show off with some shout-outs. And we've got quite a few to give out today. First and foremost, probably the most important. Sorry, Allie. Allie actually followed our page, my wife. Shout out to my wife. She followed us on Instagram. Another random follow. Shout out to Valentini14 for following us on Instagram. Valentini, you're always welcome to join us. If I still miss the good old days of playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and Destiny, so come on, appreciate the follow.
Appreciate it, Eva.
Get over here and play some Xbox with us. I hope that you upgrade it to an Xbox Series X. But the big follow, you guys, we got a real follow that we don't know. Shout out, let me get his name right, to Mike Johnson for subbing to us on YouTube. Shout out to you, Mike
Magic
Johnson.
Mike, you're the man.
Magic Mike Johnson, shout out. Thank you so much for the follow on YouTube. We really do appreciate it. Also, gentlemen, I forgot to share this with you last week, I guess we just recorded it. For some reason, I forgot to tell you this week, I should say. The last episode got twice the normal amount of downloads and plays. Twice the amount. And I don't know why it skyrocketed.
It was Chance's section, his rant about the Marvel thing. Or
But-
it was
but
your
the
sick
soapbox.
thumbnail. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. That's just it. Sorry, it wasn't the Marvels. What if it was the Grayson? Sorry, they forgot your fries episode.
People love fries, man. That's what it comes down to.
Apparently, I was so confused. I was like, "Why does this have double the amount?" We're talking almost like 60 plays. That's a lot for us. And
On YouTube?
No, on our podcast service.
Oh, dang.
And
Okay.
so, and speaking of, we'll talk about another high one on YouTube. So I'm like, what? I don't know why. And that's on that was on Anchor. That's not on YouTube where you can see the picture of Raz and, the Arby's, which is pretty cool
Classic.
to me. But yeah, shout out to people for listening to that one. We appreciate it. Speaking of food, we're going to do a top 5 food warm up here in a second. Gentlemen, the other random one was the Marvel's PlayStation episode. That almost has 100 views on YouTube. That's pretty good. So pretty pumped about that one. So apparently we need to change to a PlayStation podcast and we'll get more views and more listens. So
we don't have a PlayStation. You have one.
I have
back
one right
that's
there.
been unplugged.
Dan's
for
got
months.
that, yeah.
that prop back
uh,
there. And what's funny, guys? Okay, we'll talk about when we get into what have you been playing. Let's go to the warm-up question for this week. And this comes from a non-shout out to Calapigian, aka Matt Snelling, for this warm-up question. He asked, "Hey guys, what are your top 5 potato chips?" And guys, I just forgot that I didn't write mine down yet, so I'm going to let you guys start off because I will go last. But I pretty much know mine. So who would like to go first?
I'll
Chance,
go
you go
because I'm
first.
already
All
yelling
right,
at
Bubble
you.
Boy, you go first, then Chipotle Bear.
Number 5, chili cheese Fritos, and there's a chance that's the nostalgia bug biting at me on that one. But they are classic and pretty hard to beat. Number 4, sour cream and onion Pringles. Number 3, Cool Ranch Doritos. Number 2, Garden Salsa Sun Chips, which is a staple at Subway. You got to get those when you get your Subway sandwich. And number 1, the GOAT. There's really no point in having other chips. Sour cream and cheddar Ruffles. Baked or original. Doesn't really matter to me.
Ooh, baked is not as good. We need some real grease in here.
I agree. Jose, what about you, my friend?
So interesting. One of mine was also a derivative of Subway. Like legitimately, I was discussing this with my wife about like top 5 chips, and she's like, "Oh, well, you have to get what you always get at Subway." And I was like, oh, "Of course." So
jalapeno.
So number 5 might be a little controversial, but I put Funyuns as my number 5. Now, is it a chip? Debatable, but it comes in chip bags, right?
Yeah, it counts.
So Funyuns, my number 5. I love them. And when I was in, I think it was my sophomore year of high school, my lunch for probably a semester was Funyuns and a Diet Dr. Pepper, bought from the school store at Green Mountain High School. Shout out to them. Number 4 for me is my Subway choice. It's the jalapeno kettle chips. Phenomenal. If you've never gotten them, you can get them at Subway. They are absolutely delicious. They have just the right amount of spice. Number 3 is chili cheese Fritos, so I can corroborate Chance. It is not a nostalgia thing. They are absolutely incredible. They are just so good. I mean, they're very salty, so have something to drink nearby, but they're awesome. Number 2 is kind of a left field one, the white cheddar crunchy Cheetos. I mean, Cheetos are a huge staple on my list, and they for sure were going to make the list.
We're establishing it now. Cheetos count as a chip, even though they describe themselves
if Funyuns
as
count, then Cheetos count.
Well, I'm just saying Cheetos literally says we are not a chip. We are a artificial cheese snack. It says it on the back, and I remember Chester tweeting about this.
Okay, but if I go to the chip aisle,
no, I agree.
King Supers.
I agree.
They have Cheetos, white cheddar crunchy Cheetos number 2, and my number 1.
I didn't even know that was a thing. White cheddar crunchy.
Yeah,
you can get them at Costco. Check it out; they're amazing. Okay. My number 1 is the one I think about it like if I was at a party and there's a bunch of chips, what's the one I'm going to all the time? And that is Cool Ranch Doritos. That is my number 1 chip. Wow. Classic. And then I just had 2 quick honorable mentions. Stacy's pita chips are delicious. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're big, they're crunchy things. You eat them with like hummus, but it's just basically a giant pita chip that's crunchy, phenomenal. And Bugles. I love me a good Bugle from time to time. So those are my top 5 chips. Chili cheese Fritos definitely in there. D-Wally, how about you?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm also going to be a little controversial here. I'm going to have 2 on my tied for number 5. I'm going to pull a Bubble Boy right now. I've got Vicky's jalapeno chips. Specifically, you got to get them at Subway. That's the only thing you get when you go to Subway. I know I love Garden Salsa too, but you got to get the Vicky's jalapeno.
That's all you get at Subway? You don't get a sandwich?
Well, if you get it's chips and a drink. Okay. And then slash right there, out of respect, Cheetos. Every time I have just standard Cheetos, they are delicious. They're good. Like,
are you puffy or crunchy though?
Crunchy. I used to be a puffy boy, but no, come on, crunchy is where it's at. That's what she said. Number 4, Doritos Cool Ranch. I do love Doritos, and I almost want to put another slash right there with the salsa verde. Me in high school was a bag of salsa verde and a pink lemonade. That's pretty good. Okay, we're gonna do that. Number 3. Sour cream and onion Lay's. I think Chance mentioned this one. Just an amazing chip. And number 2, also Chance's up there, cheddar and sour cream Ruffles. Just addictingly good. But to me, guys, and I don't know, none of you had this as your number 1, and I am ashamed, and I hope you've at least had it, is the Sweet Southern Heat barbecue Lay's from Lay's.
Nope.
Delicious, you guys. It's like the perfect amount of spice meets barbecue. Allie and I will eat the whole bag in one sitting. It's that good. Even Allie, who's a big cheddar and sour cream, is like, I can't stop eating these. Try them. And
are they one of those like nostalgia or
no?
Like
those like weird flavor packs.
Flavors?
No, it's a standard. It's one of their standard flavors. But for some reason, like King Soopers and Safeway, they may or may not have it. But Walmart.
Where do you get them at?
Walmart.
Big Lots.
No, I get them at Walmart, and always there. And I've gotten them at King Soopers too. So trust me, guys, it's worth your time. I'm not even a barbecue chip fan. I don't even like the standard Lay's barbecue. These are the caca. Okay, so thank you so much to Matthew. Well, actually, a non-shout out to Matt Snelling and Stellavad Kalapagian for that warm-up question. If you'd like to submit a warm-up question, food or video game related, please hit us up at xboxrecordthis@gmail.com. Bubble Boy, what would you like to add to that?
I was going to say today I mixed it up a little bit and I went Phil Briding on everybody. We had El Tapatio Doritos in the house, and they have a good little kick to them. And rather than getting them all over my fingers and having to hold a baby at the same time, I put them on top of the sandwich that I made, or in the middle of the sandwich that I made. Just like Phil always used to do at lunch, and it was wonderful.
Oh yeah, he always had those spicy.
Crunch. He had hot fries.
Oh wait, what am I doing?
Hot fries.
Spicy Cheetos needs to be on my list.
Well,
oh my gosh, I'm gonna replace
Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
Well, honorable mention. Let's be real. You can only have so many of those, but
that's
that definitely needs to be on my list. Shout out to I love Flaming Hot Cheetos.
I really thought Chance was going to say I was smart and I put the chips on top of my baby so that
I thought it was
just like chips. I thought that's what you were
slide off the baby into your mouth.
No.
That's what I thought too. Gentlemen, what have you been playing? And let's keep the Psychonauts 2 talk. We're going to do a whole segment after the news dedicated to Psychonauts 2. So what else have you been playing, gentlemen?
So I mean, I know we mentioned it on the show last week, but played the Halo Infinite beta test last weekend, which was super fun. And we only got to play one night together, the three of us, but it was definitely fun couple of matches we got to do, and then each of us played some other stuff the rest of this weekend. Just really very excited for that game. Like, it was just good to be back in that realm. The controls were really good. The matchmaking was really solid. I actually got really excited for like some of the progression stuff, like the battle pass stuff, like the way that Warzone does, being able to customize and stuff. You only got a little taste of it. So that, and then Psychonauts, which I know we're going to talk about in a second, but that's what I've been playing this week.
Bubble Boy?
Yeah, so I finished Psychonauts, which I'm excited to talk about in a little bit, and then I wanted to play something to get me in the Halloween mood, something scary. So I'm almost finished with The Medium, which we can talk about if you want a little bit. And then I'm excited. I downloaded today. I forget what it's called. Astral something or Astria Ascending.
Train? Oh yeah.
No,
yeah.
Astria Ascending, the one with the guy that did all the artwork for Advent Children and Final Fantasy 15. I want to say, or no, the new remake. So it's a JRPG that has a pretty cool art style.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Scarlet Nexus, which I was actually watching.
And I also downloaded Scarlet Nexus.
I know you're one of those JRPG simps,
Yep,
so I expect full reviews on all of this from you next week.
I downloaded both of them, and I have to. Maybe you guys can help me decide, because I only have a few days left before, and I'll be on Halo all weekend as much as I can before Far Cry 6 shows up at the house.
Know.
So,
well, you don't have to play with what you want to play, because I want to talk about. So I'll jump in here, Chance. I've been in a little bit of a gaming rut. After I finished Psychonauts 2, I'm like, what do I play? I had so much fun with it. It was so different, and I've been grinding at Destiny, and even that, I'm like, this is getting old. And I have Red Dead on there, but I'm like, I don't want to play Red Dead. I downloaded Assassin's Creed Black Flag 360 because I'm like, maybe I want to replay that. But then I'm like, no. And then I'm like, maybe I should play my PS4. I should play Horizon or Detroit Become Human. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just I feel like I'm just going to wait until Alan Wake comes out next week. Speaking of scary game or spooky games. Chance,
did you play Horizon Zero Dawn, Dan, already once?
No, never played Horizon or Detroit Become Human. Like, those are, and I also, I don't have, what's that one that Chance likes that he thinks is better than Last of Us? The other zombie game.
Days Gone. Please play it.
So I have Days Gone, but that's a PlayStation Plus game. I don't have PlayStation Plus anymore, so I can't play it anymore.
Oh, go buy it. Can't. It's got to be one of those greatest hits.
I don't know, you guys. Zombie games.
Here's the only thing.
Play State of Decay.
The problem with Horizon and with one of the Xbox games you mentioned is they're so good, but dude, they're an investment. Like Horizon is it's easily going to be a 40, 60 hour game for you. So I think you should jump into it. I really loved it. It was a great game, but with Halo on the horizon and then Battlefield betas the weekend after that, and you're not going to have a lot of time.
Well, here's the thing. We do have October, which there's no big releases, right? Yeah, because Forza Horizon's November and then Halo's
But
December.
you have the betas.
Far Cry.
Well, yeah. See,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm gonna leave Far Cry to you to review for us. No spoilers, of course. But I will play that eventually. But I'm just not feeling it for some reason, Chance. I love Far Cry 2. I bought Far Cry 5 with the $100 edition or whatever with all the DLCs. And I'm like, so anyway, I don't know. Speaking of, I just wanted to say, like, I'm just in a gaming rut, you guys, and hopefully I figure out something. Chance, I do want to hear just initial impressions, no like review or anything. I do want a full review once you beat it. What do you think of the medium? Because I think the only one else who's played it.
Yeah, it definitely scratched the kind of horror itch that I was looking for getting ready for Halloween. I will say for a next gen, like it was marketed as, it was one of the first free X/S games to come to Game Pass for free. Just horrible controls and camera work for a next gen game like that. Like, I hate to be too nitpicky because I know it's not a game where the finesse of those really matter a whole lot, but I still am just kind of like playing through it and I'm like, come on, guys. But I like it. The story has been
pretty cool.
At first I thought it might be really gimmicky, but it works and it's not constant. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's
I think
very
it's like
purposeful
and very well paced. I agree.
I am a little confused on the story, and I'm like minutes away from the end.
Oh, really?
I believe, I'm pretty sure, because I've gotten almost like every achievement there is for find all the different collectibles and stuff. I only have like a couple left to do that I think are story related, but I have a lot of questions about the story because I'm like, I thought I knew what was going on, and then when you play as that Thomas guy, I got a little confused. So I might have to read a little bit about it, but it was good for what it was. I
agree. We'll talk about a review later.
Yeah,
save it for the review. All right. So mostly positive though. You said worth playing, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, because I started it yesterday. I think I'm 4 hours in and I'm almost done. So definitely, it's a long movie.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into Xbox news, gentlemen, and this is mostly going to be a lot of announcement stuff. But Chance, I want to direct this first one right to you because you're the only one who's going to be able to try this out. So this is coming from Xbox Wire. Dolby Vision gaming is now available on Xbox Series X and S, and this was just published a couple days ago. Basically, gaming in Dolby Vision launches today on Xbox Series X and S. More than 100 next-gen HDR titles optimized for the series consoles are now available or coming soon with in Dolby Vision. In addition, thousands of classic HDR10 and Auto HDR games will benefit from the improved picture quality from Dolby Vision. And Xbox is the first console to support this, along with ray tracing, auto low latency, variable refresh rate, and up to 120 FPS. And Chance has one of the few TVs that literally does all of this, but I think your TV doesn't have the firmware update yet, so you can't do it. But Chance, I'm asking you now.
You said the same thing about the 120 hertz. So
I know for a fact that the C9 and C10 LG OLEDs are waiting for the update. Like it's live on Xbox, but I don't think it's live on your TV yet. And they said they're rolling it out. I remember I follow this guy, Vincent Teo or something on he does a bunch of reviews on YouTube. Anyway, shout out to Vincent. He was talking about that it's rolling out now. So Chance, I would love to hear your impressions. If you could, I don't know how you turn it on, turn it off, but you should be able to turn the Dolby Vision on, but you can only have 60 FPS. You can't have 4K 120. You have to sacrifice down to 4K 60. So Chance, are you interested in this, or are you mostly going to stick with the 4K 120, or are you going to try it out?
It depends on what I'm playing. And so I think this is going to sound really strange, or maybe not, I don't know, or very elitist. Like once you play, man, like Doom running at that 120 frames per second, and just how smooth it is, it's so hard to go back. And I am probably more than anybody else in our nerd chat, obviously, buying the OLED. I am a huge graphics nerd, right? Like those mean so much to me. But if we're playing Halo and we're playing Battlefield, and for the majority of my time, if I'm playing games like that or Forza, well, maybe I'll probably do it for Forza. Actually, I'll do the Dolby. But if it's a multiplayer game, which I hope to get back into, I'd rather have the 120. Yeah. I hate to say it. I'm excited. It's cool. And sorry, a big part of what convinced Ashley to finally be like, Chance, fine, you can get this TV, was I was like, I literally won't need to buy another one for a while. Because she's like, yeah, but you've said that before. And I was like,
that's exactly
maybe,
what Allie says
probably.
to me.
But I'm like, no, but really. And I've showed her each time, like, look, see, like this came out. And my TV's, oh gosh, is it almost 2 years old now? Yeah. So man, it's still going strong. Not even a slightest hint of burn-in either. So
see, I'm still. So my conundrum, Jose, do you have any thoughts on this, or
crap?
You can't,
Hold
not
on,
really, because you don't have
hold
it.
on.
So because you don't have you don't have a TV that's capable of this, and you should have snagged that one we saw at Costco. I told you to go get it.
So it's funny. I realistically, I'm probably not going to buy a new TV anytime soon. Though I did. My daughters want another cat, and I don't want another cat. And I told my wife, if we get another cat, I'm buying an OLED TV. That's literally what I told her. So we'll see. They've had some crazy deals of open box models at like Sam's Club and Costco, where I saw one that was under $1,000 for a 65-inch. I think it was an LG, and I literally was almost like, done.
I know.
Just because it seems like a good deal. Here's the problem, though, and I'm being super real. I don't know what I would do with our TV right now. We have a 75-inch TV, and it's not a Dolby, it's not an OLED, but it's a great 4K TV.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. That seems very wasteful. So anyway, first world problems for sure for all our listeners out there. But no, man, I'm excited for this stuff. We are just in a golden time of gaming, because like you think about it as kids, and we were playing on those big ass CRTs. You know what I'm saying? Like that weighed 1,000,000 pounds. And I remember when I got a 36-inch in my bedroom, and I was like, I'll never need another TV again.
It's never going to be any bigger than this. Yep.
And it's just cool that we're in this time where the things that they make for like movies, right? Audio, video, the surround are now being incorporated into games meaningfully and accessibly, right? So I think that's a cool thing. And again, just another perk of being in an ecosystem that like it's free. Like you don't pay extra if you're on Games Pass for this stuff. You just built in as long as you have the hardware to do it. So, yeah, man, it's cool.
So my conundrum here, Chance, is if that TV, I go to Costco like once a week just to see if that 77-inch OLED goes on sale, and if it was $2,500, I would snag that in a heartbeat. But the thing is like, do I spend $2,500 for the 77, or do I spend? There's a Sony, and they're finally rolling out the updates, an LED, and get an 85-inch Sony, and get a $500 sound bar.
Yep.
Ooh, with Atmos, I'm like, I think I might go 85-inch tower power, and to match the Xbox. So I don't know. We'll see. Either way, very cool. Like Jose, that's a good point. Jose is like, we're getting all of this cool technology that we see in the movie theaters in our homes. But again, I'm still a movie theater guy. I don't think anything will replace that. And I need to go see Shang-Chi in theaters. I know Jose is going to wait, but I really should just go and do that on my own one night. Next up on the news is the Battlefield open beta, and this was coming directly from Battlefield. It was announced, and it's coming October 6th through the 9th, so next week. And you will join the fight on Orbital with a diverse selection of specialists, cutting-edge weaponry, and vehicles to choose from. The open beta is from October 6th through 9th, and early access is available for all players who pre-order the game or are current EA Play members, and preload starts October 5th. So, gentlemen, October 5th, that means where are we dropping, boys? Jose, are you going to play the beta, and are you going to play every night, or is this during Halo? I didn't even look at the dates. I don't think it's
no, because it's
after.
a Tuesday. Tuesdays.
Oh yeah, you're right, because Halo's this weekend. It's next week. So Jose, what are you thinking about the Battlefield open beta? Are we going to get diced yet again?
So that's my conundrum. My conundrum is that I realistically, am I going to play it? I'm sure I will. Like, I know that it's going to say like, oh, I should be patient and wait, but that's my genuine concern is like, that phrase getting diced comes from Battlefield. It comes from, I think it was Battlefield 4, maybe 3, when it really was bad when they were opening it up. And so, realistically, the way I'm trying to approach it is the reason companies do betas is so that the launch is good, right? And so if you don't want to deal with bugs, if you don't want to contribute, you just want to enjoy the final product, that's fine. Just don't play them, right? It's the same thing with like software betas for your phone or your computer, whatever. You're taking that risk. And I'm just excited to play a Battlefield game. You know, again, that we said that in one of the episodes for the nostalgia, like that's where we reunited all the three of us and some of our friends and stuff. So I'm sure I will buy it. The one question I have for you two though is, what version did you guys buy? Because I'll be honest, I have not bought mine yet. I'm going to buy it. I just haven't done it yet. I just want to know what you guys purchased.
I'll go first here, Chance. I've not purchased it yet, Jose. And the reason is I'm going to wait as long as possible because I've noticed on the Xbox Rewards app, they tend to give you like thousands of points, basically like $5 towards free points when you order it and do like their little punch cards. So I'm going to wait. And then I'll eventually probably buy the $90 one that comes with the year one pass and pray that I don't get diced. So, Chance, what about you? Oh, wait, you already bought yours, Chance.
No, I haven't either. I haven't. And I was going in, I have the money set aside for it to buy it digitally. I just haven't yet. And there's part of me that's like, we had talked about it a few episodes ago, or maybe, I don't remember, a couple, where I was like, God, I hope it gets pushed till April. That I'm like, I'm just going to wait and like hope for that. So I don't know. It's meaningless. It's not like my I'm gonna jinx anything or anything if I do buy it. But I'll probably do the season 1 pass one, which I think is because we all have EA Play.
We get a slight
be a little
discount.
bit cheaper, but yeah. So
that's what I'm gonna get.
And I'll definitely be doing the beta. I mean, and I don't care. Like get diced, great. I hope we get diced so that they learn from it, right? Like that they're like, okay, well, this is what we did wrong. This is what we need to fix, and this is how we can make it better. That's the whole point of it. And if we do, great. I'll just start playing Far Cry. Like,
I mean, there's plenty to play.
I'll be just fine.
That's true. But I'm very, of course, I knew we were all going to play this. I'm just very interested to see the state of the game, and I'm praying it runs well. Because like we've played Halo, you guys have seen it. You clearly like it. Seems like it's ready to go. Multiplayers. We haven't seen campaign, but I'm kind of okay with that because I don't want to know any more about it because I want to go into it blind. And I'm confident. I hope that they're just going to nail it. So Battlefield, DICE, please give us a working game. And like Chance and Jose have said, if there are glitches and bugs, take your time, learn from it. And if you need to delay it, please delay it. Like we will gladly play it later. Jose, do you have anything else to add about Battlefield or are you good?
Just that I am super pumped for it to be back in a modern setting. We talked about that, right? Just it's nice to have the true classes back and like the medic back. And like, I'm really excited for some of those elements of the game. And you know, not to demean Halo by any means, but one thing I did notice about the beta of the Halo was like the maps, while they're beautiful and they're very well designed and they were really fun to play in, they're pretty basic maps. One thing that sets Battlefield different is like the maps are very dynamic and like literally with the destruction and stuff like that, but just that's a lot more on a server load, right? When you're talking graphics intensive stuff. So again, I'm glad they're doing the beta. I do hope that they ask for feedback and I hope that they listen to the feedback, right? Like that's really the other piece is if you ask for stuff and then you don't listen to what your fans tell you, that's not helping you. So, you know, I'm excited overall.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And Halo's a completely different game though, first person. Like it's built as an arena shooter, whereas Battlefield's this big epic battles thing. But also, did you get to play any of the Capture the Flag map on this past weekend? Pretty cool, you guys. I'm not gonna lie, they had vehicles. One of the maps was awesome. And this weekend is gonna be those bigger maps.
When did that happen?
That was Sunday. Sunday they had more objective based games, and they had a new one map, and it was pretty cool, you guys.
Damn.
Yeah, football stuff like that.
Dang.
But well, the Chiefs lost. But anyway, so I'm very excited. Like Jose's, you bring up a good point though. 343 has been nothing but transparent and taking all of this feedback and encouraging it and saying, hey, once you play this, please come tell us, come talk to us. And they're collecting all this data. I don't necessarily see that. Like with Battlefield's announcement here, it just says, hey, come play it. Like, doesn't say anything about like where you can submit feedback or we want you to. They're not emphasizing it. So I hope we don't get diced, guys. Next story is this month's Games with Gold, Chance's favorite segment. For October, Well, actually, there's a couple.
Dude, I've heard of these games.
Good. Yeah. Okay,
I'm excited, and Chapeau and I finally get to defend our favorite Resident Evil game.
So the first one is from October 1st to October 31st. This is an Xbox One or Series game. Is called Arrow. I know nothing about it. And then Hover, October 16th through November 15th. But some big guns coming in. And I actually looked at the review for Castlevania Harmony of Despair. That's October 1st through the 15th. This is a 360 game. And I guess it's a co-op Castlevania game. I didn't know that. And then one of the Chapeau Bear and Bubble Boy's favorites, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, now in HD, October 16th through October 31st. I actually recently just beat this, I believe, within the last year or so. I paid for it. Good game. I don't think it's one of the better Resident Evil games. You guys should go play it to see how well it's aged. Jose, do you have any thoughts about? Are you gonna play any of these games? How about that? So are you actually gonna play any of them?
Coming out of left field here, no, I am not gonna play it. And I'm gonna urge our followers to also not play it on Games with Gold, because I know they're gonna do 4 first, and they should do 4 first as like an HD remake. I guarantee you they're going to do a Code Veronica remake. Wait for that, because it is a really great.
Wouldn't you appreciate it more to play the original to see the differences? Like this was a big,
but if you had played it in the past,
argument that Colin Moriarty, our friends over at Sacred Symbols, he says he's like, I don't know how someone can appreciate Final Fantasy VII remake without having played the first game. And he felt like that was kind of necessary. No, I know. That's how he feels. I disagree. I feel like if you want to come in and play the remake, go ahead. But I do think he's like, you will just appreciate it so much more, seeing the differences, seeing what they've selected to change.
Appreciate it more, yes, but appreciate it, period, I disagree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, what I would say is, people that love the games of Resident Evil have already played Code Veronica. They already know the story. They appreciate why it's a great game. They want the true, like, beautiful, updated controls, updated graphics, like what they did with Resident Evil 2, what they did with Resident Evil 3. You know, like, that's what those fans want. For someone who's never played it before, you'd still enjoy it. It really is a cool and fun game, but it's going to feel very dated, even with an HD upgrade. Because it was from the Dreamcast. Like, that's literally when it came out. That's a long time ago. And so, again, if you're only going to play it once and never play it again, just wait, right? You have plenty of other stuff to play. If you really like Resident Evil games and you just never played that one, or if you like horror games, you never played that one, sure, play it now, and then you can play it again in a couple of years when they make the remake. But I'm also just happy to see him put it out there, because it really is a great game, and it's definitely I think it's an underrated Resident Evil game. You know, it always falls to the bottom of the list after RE2, RE4, RE7. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still think it's a great game.
I always equate these kind of things to books and movies. Like, the book was always better, right? Well, that the book is kind of like the original game, and the movie would be the remake of it, where, again, the book is better, but what's great about the movie is you don't have to be reading a book, right? And so it's like, that's the updated graphics, that's the updated controls, all that kind of stuff, the visuals, to where, the purist in you will want to say, you get so much more out of it when you read a book, just like you would get more out of a game when you play it the way it was originally designed to be played. But that doesn't mean you can't watch the Lord of the Rings movie before having read all those books and still think they were great, right? Like, because that was me. I watched all those movies before I read the books.
Yeah. Good points, gentlemen. Well, I do think those games, at least the 360 ones, are probably worth them, especially Resident Evil. Next story, guys, is the Tokyo Games Show had some announcements today. And we're going to briefly go through them. Basically, these are just some of the big announcements. Xbox Cloud Gaming launches in Japan, Australia, Brazil, and Mexico. And I found out some tweets from Xbox or some Xbox insider or reporters were saying that Japan is their fastest growing market, which is interesting. So that's a big deal to have cloud gaming over there. Forza Horizon 5 revealed their PC specs. You better have a powerful computer to run this if you're going to play that on your PC. The commitment to Japanese creators and PC gaming experience on Windows as well. New content. Oh, wait, I'm going to skip that. A brand new Back for Blood trailer. Bethesda announced they're going to have full Japanese localization for Starfield. And Bethesda Game Studios' biggest localization in the history, along with Redfall. And we also had Phil Spencer and Tango Gameworks founder Shinji Mikami discuss the present and future of gaming in a fireside chat. I love Tango Gameworks. Give me more of the evil within. And then we're going to talk about that next one later. And then there are more experiences coming to Xbox from independent developers in Asia as well. And then the other one, I wanted to talk directly to you, Chance, about this one. Scarlet Nexus is available on Game Pass right now, described as an action JRPG. I was just kind of watching the review, Chance. I'm not the biggest JRPG fan, but I kind of am interested in this because of the gameplay, and I hear that it's basically a more linear RPG where you're just going from point A to point B, and that has me interested a lot because I don't want these big open world Final Fantasy RPGs. And I think the reviewer was saying it was there are 2 campaigns and 20 hours a piece, so 40 hours, yes, but something different. So I'm kind of interested in this. But tell me what you think.
Yeah, it does look totally kind of different. It does look different, which is appealing to me. I don't, despite my I do like a lot of JRPGs. I don't really love the anime art style, though, that it looks like some of the cutscenes are in, but the rest of the art looks amazing. And not that the anime style looks bad or anything, it's just not my taste. So it was really intriguing. And then the 2 different campaigns was really intriguing to me as well. I think
kind of reminded me of Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm. And it'd be interesting if and it will probably never make it work, but if you are going to play it, that I play one and you play the other, and then we talk about it, and then we do the other one and see.
The reviewer was saying it's kind of essential to do both, though.
I get, yeah. And that's, what other games? Oh, like the Resident Evil ones are kind of like that, right? And even, why am I drawing a blank on?
While you think about that, Jose, do you have any reactions to any of these announcements, or is this going to be an Xbox delete that for you? And Chance, let me quickly, I kind of agree. I'm not biggest into the anime art style either, but I did get Tales of Vesperia on the Switch, and I didn't mind it just because I've never really played a game like that. So I might check it out just for that. So sorry to interrupt. Sorry, Jose, do you have any reactions to any of these announcements?
Nothing super significant. I mean, I think it's cool that Xbox seems to be making a super big headway. I mean, I'm sure that's intentional in the headlines and the conference itself, but in other markets, especially Japan. I mean, historically, we've talked about that in the past. Like, Japan is very heavily into Sony because it's a Japanese company, but also the PlayStation and stuff, the history there. So it just feels cool that it's growing and that they're really trying to listen to all their fans worldwide, not just like us specifically in America. Which I think is great. And I am a big fan of anime. Granted, there's a lot that I haven't seen that I know of. I know what it is. I just haven't watched it. And so I don't know if I'll get super into the JRPGs outside of Final Fantasy. That's not historically just been the game I tend to play. But I do respect the art and think it's cool to try some new stuff. So I hope it goes well, and I hope it's something great for us.
Chance, do you have any more thoughts on the Japanese announcement or Tokyo Game Show, or ready to move on to Jose's next big and final news story of the week? This is coming from Xbox Wire. Xbox Game Pass members assemble. Marvel's Avengers coming September 30th. It is live just now. We just launched our biggest expansion to date for Marvel's Avengers, and this is coming from Hunter Wolf, community coordinator at Crystal Dynamics. Black Panther: War for Wakanda. We loved seeing your reactions to the new campaign, and today we're excited to announce that we're making the complete Marvel's Avengers experience, including all previously released free content, available with Xbox Game Pass for PC, console, and cloud on September 30th. Yep, you read that right. Every player with a Game Pass subscription can experience the full game and all our post-launch heroes and missions. This includes 4 story campaigns that showcase one or more heroes' unique abilities, as well as our Avengers initiative, our evolving online multiplayer world that lets you and 3 friends play as any hero in our roster and embark on global adventures. Jose, you literally said not too long ago that you would love to play Avengers, but it needs to be free on Game Pass. You willed it into existence, buddy. Tell me what you're thinking. With did you already download it? Talk to me.
I did. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But one point I would just like to point out, last episode, we were talking about Crystal Dynamics because they were called in as a pinch hitter support. And I said, wouldn't it be interesting if Crystal Dynamics had some deal where they were bringing their games to Game Pass and it was a new studio for Game Pass? And all I'm saying is you can throw me in your ats because I knew what I was talking about. So
you got it right.
So yes, I did download it. I downloaded, actually, I was up early this morning because of my daughter's being sick, and I had a couple minutes before I went to work, and I was like, I'm going to go download that game. I was a little surprised, without searching on your computer and the Google devices. How big do you think that game is?
175 gigs.
Chance?
23.
It is 125 gigs. It is a chunky boy, let me tell you.
Which I don't know why.
So here's the thing. So a couple of things why, because I said the same thing. I was like, oh my God, why is it so big? It's because you actually get 2 versions of the game. You get either a performance mode or a really high graphics mode that's designed for like the Series S and X, which is really great. That's actually what I started playing just the first mission a tad bit, and it's pretty beautiful. Some of the cutscenes were just absolutely gorgeous, the first ones, and it took a second to get used to not seeing the actors as the Avengers, but honestly, I got over that quicker than I thought I would. 2 points that I thought were interesting were that the menu screen that you load into is not the first campaign. It like immediately loads you into like their new content. And so I started that, and then this thing that popped up and said, hey, you haven't played the main game. You want to go do that? And I was like, oh yeah, I do want to do that. And that was just a weird choice, I think. And then the other thing that I just thought was, I know it's not really funny because I don't think mental health is funny, but I thought it was a little hilarious. One of the warning dialogues, on the opening screen said, if you have arachnophobia, be careful playing the Wakanda expansion because there are spider robots. And I was like, that's weirdly thoughtful, but borderline hilarious. Anyway, I think it's cool, man. I know that the game got horrific reviews. Chance played it himself and said it was not amazing. And I truly trust and believe Chance's taste, but it's 100% free, and I got nothing to really play until I got some bigger games coming out. And
it's perfect for this. It's
exactly
absolutely like it. I am so thankful for you. Well, I'm always thankful for you. I'm so happy for you that this is how it came out, because it's exactly what you needed. You'll have fun with it. You'll do the same things I did, which was like, oh, it's over already, and like, oh, how come the Hulk wasn't different? And then, oh my God, if only I could customize these things a little bit better. Just wait till you get to the point where it starts to be that. But hopefully it's aged a little better, and it sounds like they've added some things. So I truly hope you enjoy it. I think even if you have the exact same experience I did, that it's worth your time for free.
Yeah, for free, absolutely.
Super excited. I totally forgot that you actually had played this. Mm-hmm. And not only played it, but apparently just completely forgot about it afterwards. So you have no interest.
Why did you say forgot about it afterwards? I didn't forget about it.
Do you have no interest to jump back in and maybe play some Wakanda with Jose? Really? Some co-op action, some Destiny, Marvel's
That's the thing,
action?
though, like, because it just the way, the style of the game, I'm like, that doesn't appeal to me to play with somebody. The combat was so bland. And I'm trying to think of how to, like, the fact that I kind of touched on it. The fact that the Hulk is no more powerful than Kamala Khan, like, it's like, great, okay, cool. I know she is just, powerful as well, or that Iron Man is powerful too, but like, there's nothing that separates them other than a different look of a move. And so that was a little strange to me. And so I'm like, well, okay, so now it's just Black Panther doing the same things with slight variations instead of the Hulk. I will give it, and Chapeau, you mentioned too, that it was cool how quickly I didn't care that it wasn't the MCU actors, because I did think I was going to kind of care about that, but I ultimately didn't. I do also remember being really surprised that I think Captain America was the most enjoyable character to me based off of his shield and the way that worked. So, but yeah, I mean, this is perfect. That's what I'll give it, right? If it's a buy, rent, or wait till whatever.
Wait for sale, ACG. Shout out to ACG.
Yep, exactly. This is a perfect wait for the free Game Pass edition.
Yeah, or wait till on Game Pass. Well, any other thoughts, Jose? Are we ready to move on? You good?
Yeah, I got nothing other than I love the intro. I will definitely give my version of a review once I get through it.
Nice.
Yeah, I won't be anytime real soon because we have some betas to get through and I have a job. But eventually when I get there, at a family.
Hold on, I have a job.
Chance, did you review Marvel or Avengers for us?
No, that was a long
Okay, maybe
time.
we can get
Dude,
a
I think that game's like a
co-review on
year old now, isn't it? I don't know.
I might be older than that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did that come out this year?
I think it was last summer, man.
I think it was during the pandemic, like summer pandemic, I think. I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
Let's move on. Yeah, move on. Guys, this is going to be a huge spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. We are going to have a Spoilercast review discussion on Psychonauts 2 right now. Everybody, you need to play Psychonauts 2. Just an absolutely fantastic game. Gentlemen, I was thinking maybe we could discuss level by level or maybe some of your favorite levels. Do we want to go over like a quick review at the beginning, or do you want to just go by levels and discuss it that way?
I would first want to know. I just want to popcorn and say what our favorite one was, and then we can go level by level because I'm just kind of curious what everybody thought first.
I have the levels on a list right here. We have Lobato's Labyrinth, Hollis's Classroom / Hot Street, The Collective Unconscious, Compton's Cook-Off, the Psy King Sensorium, Ford's Fractured Mind, Bob's Bottles, my least favorite, even though it was cool, but those dang figments, Cassie's Collection, Lucretia's Lament, or Fatherland Follies. Chance, why don't you lead us off? What was your favorite level from those?
So I loved I guess it's part of a couple, but
I think it was Lucretia's, right?
No. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. This is terrible radio here or podcasting. The one with the bowling alley.
Yes, I love the bowling alley as well.
Mixed into 3. Why can't I think of what the whole thing is called? Because he also has the follicles, right, with the hair cutting.
Barber in the mail room.
Yeah, the barber shop in the mailroom one.
Okay,
but
yes,
because
that was Ford's Fractured Mind. That was his
perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
When you go back into it, that's all 3 of those are one level. So definitely, if you consider all 3
Strike
of those one
City.
level. Mm-hmm. But I loved it because it was like Marvel
you're
Madness.
Right. This was a great one, and then the Lighthouse one. Okay, yeah, let's go through.
And for I don't know. Do you want me to tell you why it was my favorite?
No, let's go through it one by one. Jose, what was your favorite level, if you remember? Actually,
so my two is a tie. My 2 favorite ones were the cook-off one. I really just liked that level. I loved the concept of like you had to cook the dishes. I loved that it wasn't super huge, but still challenging to find the figments and stuff. I loved the boss at the end. I really liked that level. And then in a very similar vein, I loved Cassie's one with the paper. I just thought that was incredibly imaginative. And even though that came so late in the game and you get a final power so freaking late in the game for that one, I still really liked that story. And like I loved even the scenes where you like went into the books and it was 2-dimensional and stuff. I just thought that was super rad, dude.
Yeah, so let's go one by one. So the first, mine was also the same as Chance's. So yeah, the Ford's, what was it for? Whatever, the Ford's
Fractured Mind.
Yeah, that was, I loved all of those and thinking back and looking at them. So Lobato's Labyrinth, that was kind of like the introductory level. A lot of teeth, dentist things going on there. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Or do you want to go to the next one? Because I felt it was a good introductory level.
It wasn't good. It was a little disturbing imagery. Like when I first played it, I was like, wow, if the game's going to be like this, like I'm not mad by any means, but a little weird. You know what I mean?
I did. I was pleased that it took a turn away from what it did because I was like, oh, this is going to be all about fears. And they have dentists, so there's probably going to be like a snake level and there's going to be a heights level and things like that. But
it's actually a snake island in Japan, turns out.
Heavy.
The next one was Hollis's Mind / Hot Streak, and the Hot Streak was kind of like the that was her gambling.
The
side
casino
of it.
level.
Yep, the casino levels. That was the infamous. Which one was the one I had a problem with?
The heart
cardiology,
run.
the heart run. Yep.
Yeah.
Did not do well on that. I liked. What was your favorite part of that one? Do you guys remember?
I liked the Plinko part where you went in and you played the little Plinko game.
Which one's Oh yeah, the one where you were bouncing the ball down. Is that the Plinko?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking? Yeah, that was my favorite too. Yep, awesome. So that one, you guys, was all about gambling,
addiction,
and then I thought the collective unconscious. That was just where you would go back to places.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's all that was.
Okay, and then the next
that was
one
like
was
the hub.
What's the brain tumbler experiment? Brain.
I don't know.
Tumbler.
The
the caravan, the hatching grounds, the woods.
Oh, just
tower.
the woods. Oh, okay.
So along with the base, which one of those?
I was gonna say, I think
the level worlds.
The brain tumbler that was a thing in the
in Otto's shop, right, where all the brains were stored.
Yeah. Is that what would
that's
bring
not
you back?
like its own level.
Oh yeah. I remember now. And then, what about Sasha's shooting gallery? Was that a level? No. Sorry, these are not. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong list here. No,
Yeah, you
Sasha's
had it
shooting
earlier.
gallery.
No, you had the list earlier. You had the right one, the one that you said earlier.
Yeah. It had like Lucretia's Lament. It had.
Oh,
When you go into
oh my
the
god! I'm sorry. I'm looking at. They have Psychonauts and Psychonauts 2 right there. Sorry.
Okay.
We
When
have
you go into the collective
Compton's
unconscious.
Cook-Off was the next
Yes.
one. So
Yes. And
this
and
was
let's let Chapeau start because that was his favorite.
okay.
It's just-
Chipotle,
I mean,
the
it's just-
cooking stage, right?
Yeah, it was just cool that it had the mini game, and a lot of them had mini games, right? We already talked about the Plinko and stuff like that, but just that it reminded me of Overcooked, which I've talked about before. I think was a really fun game to play on Xbox. It's still on Game Pass if you want to check it out. It had that element added to like everything, and you still had the elements of like fighting, and it was just. I just thought it was an awesome level. I really liked that level.
Chance, what about you?
I thought it was cool how small it was and still wasn't linear. Like there were only a couple of different places to go, but there was still a ton to do within that small little world. And I just had so much fun traversing all around it and figuring out all the little hints and stuff throughout it. It was really, really well done. The way the bosses happened at the end was really well done too, where you had to like pull the food out and throw the right one in.
Yep.
And
I forget. That was a cool boss battle.
I don't know about you guys, but when I was doing the actual like Overcooked part of it, the challenges, I had like 2 seconds at the end of each one. Not the first
Really?
one. The first one was really easy, yeah. But the last two, it was 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. The last one I was barely there, but I have to admit I failed miserably on the first one, even though it gives you like 20 minutes to figure it out.
You were jacking around.
I was too busy going and getting all the figments that I have to come back at the end of the game because there's a locked case in there because that's one of the bonus ones. If you beat the time, you have to beat all the times to get the bonus like locked treasure chests. And so, of course, I had one that was not unlocked, and I had to go back after I beat everything, and then it just gives it to you at that point. But love that level as well. I haven't played Overcooked, so if Overcooked is like that, that sounds amazing. The next level was Psy King Sensorium, and this is what was that
Like psychedelic
Yeah.
festival.
the music festival one.
Can I start with this one? It was
Absolutely.
by far my least favorite.
Really?
However, I can appreciate how well done it was.
Yes.
It was not for me. I don't.
many
I
colors?
had flashbacks of some horrible experiences in my life, and I just
psychedelics.
it was so hard to find the figments on those. Because
And
of
there's
all
like
the colors.
263 in that
So
one
many,
too.
and it was so big. Like I think it was by far the biggest level, and it was. It kind of made me sick to my stomach a little bit because it was so psychedelic. But I can understand. Like if any of you had said that was my favorite level, I'd be like, I get it.
I kind of agree at the same points. Like there's a lot going on, but I do think it was very well made. Like overall, maybe probably the best overall actual platforming and leveling out of the whole game, to be honest. And like you said, they were the biggest levels in the game. Jose, what were your feelings on that one? And it was kind of cool to see the band coming back together and everything like that too. So,
I mean, I appreciated the story element of it, and I'll talk about that when we get to our pros and cons of the game in general. But it was also my least favorite of the levels. I actually played it second in the Fractured Mind sequence. I played the barbershop first, and then this one, and then finished with the bowling. And it was fine. I mean, it was just not my favorite because it was so big. It was also the first level you played where the figment number was so freaking high, and I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like that just it took a little bit of the fun away from me, to be honest.
Yeah. The next level was, I feel like all of our favorites, was Ford's Fractured Mind. Chance, do you want to start out with it? Just so you know, it was Strike City, the bowling level. Crueller's Correspondence was that mail level. Very, very cool with that with the old man in the middle sorting the mail. And then Ford's Follicles was that lighthouse level. Very awesome art style in that level. So go ahead, Chance.
The Correspondence one took a back seat for me, but only because of how cool the other two were. I missed a lot of the coolness and uniqueness of the Correspondence one, just because it was the last one that I did after I did the bowling and then the haircut and then the mail one, and I was just like so overwhelmingly impressed with the bowling alley and the marble madness and the like stinky shoes and the germs in the shoe, like it's just so well done. Yes, it's so cool. Just so imaginative, right? And the way the level would turn on itself at times.
Yeah, that was trippy.
And so, yeah, just good. I encourage anyone, if you liked Marble Madness at all, you would love that game, or that part of that game. And then the haircut one, I thought was just so well done from an artistic standpoint. The way everything was like a mustache or hair related.
Yeah, all for hair.
The water was like that, just so well done. Again, it's not the same as Destiny 2, where I'll be playing Destiny and just like pause and be like, I gotta watch. I just want to see this in all its glory on my OLED. It was a very different experience, but in the same vein of like, I would just like pan around and be like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that.
It's almost like an art piece or a painting or something.
It totally, absolutely was.
Jose, what stood out to you from Ford's Fractured Mind?
I mean, I played the barbershop first one, and I really liked it. I didn't think it was too big. I thought it was like it just was really unique in terms of its style. And it, like even when you get to the top of the lighthouse, and really in all of them, where you're like inside his head and you're jumping on his tongue and stuff, just like almost like weird Ren and Stimpy vibes, but I really liked it. It was like just so different. And my favorite one was, of course, the bowling one, because part of it was just the controls were so tight, because if they had not been, that level would have been miserable, because you'd have got stuck all the time.
That construction zone or whatever.
Exactly.
At the end.
But it was very honestly forgiving and very tight controls that made it super cool. Like where I wasn't doing the same thing over and over because I got messed up. I just thought it was really cool, man. Really liked it.
The next level, which probably was my least favorite, because this is where I couldn't find my final figment. And I just had nightmares of this happening, especially on this level because it is massive. Bob's Bottles, getting a little bit of Wind Waker vibes, sailing the seas. Thankfully, it wasn't nearly as large. And there were a few hidden figments, and I have to talk to you about this, Chance, because I think even though you said you weren't going to, I think you got 1,000 on it.
Because I did the same thing as you. I finished, and I was like, nothing is jumping out to me. I just want to keep playing Psychonauts. Like, I didn't love... The story was okay. I didn't love the ending and the way it all kind of came together. Whatever. But when I finished, I was like, okay, here's all these other games I could go play. I was like, nah, I want to go back and see all the little things. I will say, and you can believe me or not, I found the one behind the door on my first run. I didn't need any help with
Yeah,
it. I
no,
did need help with the banana in the tree.
Oh, did you see
That
there was an article on that? It randomly popped up on my Google, feed. How they sometimes give you
from, was it
articles.
Kotaku or Gamer Rant?
Yeah,
I
someone was
forget.
like, I couldn't find it, and there was, and that was, I think that was one of the ones I missed. I also missed that one behind the door. I can see someone seeing them. I usually would have checked back there, but I didn't. Speaking of the doors, though, I thought that was really cool in the level was how you would go through, and it was like a whole new world that you would go into. I'm assuming that's like very, very cool to see how that worked.
It totally was lost on me on what that had to do with like vegetables and stuff, though. That was the part I was playing that level when we were on Saturday night all together. So I was listening to all your bantering.
When you fell asleep, Chance fell asleep on us.
Yeah, trying to figure out what was going on with that story, but. Yeah, definitely Wind Waker vibes. I liked the floating around the islands part. I thought that was kind of cool.
It's not. I mean, I liked it too, but at the same time, I was like, I'm gonna miss something, and I knew it. And of course, it was that level. Jose, anything that stood out to you with Bob's Bottles?
No, nothing super that jumped out at me. I got a little annoyed at the parts where you had to have the potato head to get the water to move for you. Just like it seemed like an unnecessary obstacle to like exploring. And I get that it was cool and it adds to the like platforming element. I didn't love that aspect of it, but no, it was cool, man. It was already so different. Like, again, like I didn't think that far in the game. I thought we were going to start seeing some elements repeated and stuff. And truly you didn't. It was just very continually different, which is cool.
And then next up, another one of Bubble Boy's favorite and Jose's, Cassie's collection in the library. Hilarious dialogue too. We haven't even talked about some of the parts where I'm just laughing
all the
out
little
loud.
Characters you can talk to, and Shakespeare, and
I love Ras. Like he's one of my favorite characters now. Like hilarious, and his expressions, especially. I made a note of this, and I'll read it to you guys in a second. So, Chance, what did you? Or actually, Jose, go ahead. You said this was, I think, your favorite, right? Cassie's collection.
I love that it was like the librarian theme where it's like you have to be quiet, and she's kind of like an evil librarian, and obviously a huge spoiler. Like it turns out that all the like main characters in that level are actually all one character, like almost like splits of her mind, that some are kind of competing against others, and like the mean one is the one controlling the scenario. And I also thought it was a cool tie-in that she was the bee lady, the monster in the forest that you run into. Like I thought that was a cool tie-in. And I will admit to you guys, that's the part where you're supposed to carry the smoke can through the bees. I did not catch that, and I kept trying to run. I probably did it 30 times, and I could get all the way to the vines, and then I would jump on the vines, and then I would die. And I was like, I'm clearly missing something. And then I figured out I felt so stupid doing that. But back to the level itself, I just thought it was really cool design. I just thought it was really cool writing. And the boss, I think, was also really cool. How the way that they beat her and the design of it and stuff like that. I really thought that was a cool. As we're getting closer to the end of the game, I really liked that level a lot. Chance?
My favorite part was the end of it, where you're in that like kind of Chinese part with the water, and finding all the figments on that one was just plain fun. Like I really, really enjoyed it. It did not feel like a grind at all. When I went and I was like, there was this whole like castle I didn't explore, which was the very first building you walk out of, right? You walk out and you have this like expanse in front of you, and you're like, oh my God, where do I start? And so there's so much to do there. And I completely forgot that there was an entire like kind of world behind you there. Everything about that one was so cool. From the boats that were floating around to the little stamps and stuff, the books that we talked about when you actually go inside the books, and the figments in there were really easy to point out and kind of see because they were a totally different color, but just creative, right? So creative, such a just unique, wonderfully well done.
The next level was Lucretia's Lament, and this was like kind of like that circus theme. I really liked that first opening level with the circus,
with the flea,
this little mini games.
Circus, yeah.
And then the funny part, I wrote this in the notes. I said I was laughing so loud when you're introduced to the level and the gang's getting back together, and then at some point, I don't know if it's this level or the next one, but Raz is shot out. or no, he's super big, and that's what it is. And then he gets super small, and then he lands on that bug, and he squishes it. He's like, "What's this green goo underneath me?" It's one of them. I was laughing so hard. I don't know why, but when he killed that little bug. So, Chance, what did you think of Lucretia's lament on that level? What
Again,
stood
so
out to you?
creative, really cool. I liked when you had to climb up that ladder towards the end of the flea circus part. That was kind of just really cool, and the way he dove into the cup.
Yep.
And then the next part of that, the quilting level, again, not necessarily for me, but really cool, right? Like, or was that level? Yeah, that was that level. Nona's quilting stuff, right? Because that was when you jumped in, where you had to. There were a couple of times, or the very first time I went down, I didn't ride the rail down to push the ball string, and so I didn't get the figments. And I went back
cool.
and was like, "Oh, that makes sense," and just again, really creative. It took those were the hardest ones for me to find, the figments where you had to pick up the button.
Yep, I missed those too.
I was like, I could see them. They're right over there.
Oh, really?
Behind that fence.
Yeah,
How
I
the
didn't even
hell
see
do I
'em.
get back there?
Jose, any thoughts?
I'm proud that I didn't cheat on it, but I was sitting there. Ashley's like, "You've been doing this for too long. Like, what are you doing here? Come on."
Oh, I looked it up. I have no shame for collectibles. I have no shame looking up for stupid collectible guys. Jose, what about you? Did anything stand out to you, or do you want to go on to the last level?
I don't have a lot to add. I will say I did actually figure out the button thing on my own. Like I just saw it, I was like, that's weird. And I was like, oh, cool. And jumped over there. So I didn't cheat and figured it out.
Yeah,
But
I should have known when I went back to it.
I don't have anything else though.
Okay, and then the last one was Fatherland Follies. And this I thought was very cool, very creepy, the ride. I felt like it kind of went on a little bit too long, but that was probably one of my only critiques. But very cool, a very creepy kind of old Disney style
It's a
adventure
small world.
park. It's a small world ride. So, Chance, what did you think of that one?
You hit it on the head. I was like, okay, please don't have another, like, you ride and see the whole thing and then go back and play it. That wasn't for me, but I did think it was pretty cool and just another, like, creative way of doing things.
Yeah, and I didn't like how they kind of spammed you with enemies at the end of like each segment either. Jose, any thoughts on the final level?
No, same stuff. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and we'll get into this when we talk our pros and cons. By this point in the game, I kept thinking like, oh, this is the end, and then it wasn't the end. And I was like, oh, this is the end, and it's not the end. And I was kind of like, I love the game. It's not that I wanted it to end, but I was because it kept missing that mark, I was getting a little annoyed, and so I was ready for the end at that point.
I kind of feel you on that too, but I did want to shout out, like, I thought it was so cool when Raz got back with his family. I took a cool screenshot of all of his family standing there together. And of course, it's like this most epic screenshot I've ever taken. And then there's stupid subtitles at the bottom. I'm like, oh, why did I turn those off? It's like the sweetest picture. And his dad's got the fireball and they're all standing there. Anyway, guys, let's close out the spoiler cast with, why don't you give me a quick review if you want, a little bit of pros, cons, and what would you give it?
Real quick, can we talk about, so like that ending again that I was like, I still don't really know what to think about it. But the ending that really came to fruition in that it's a small world level, right? That Lucretia's Lament where it's like, hey, the good guy's really the bad guy. But then part of it got a little lost on me in terms of how he was using Raz against the Psychonauts the whole time. I got the part about putting his brain in the mailroom guy, or putting, the other guy's brain in his brain. But past that, I was like, it lost me a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
I was just that part. I mean, I got a little bit lost. I was like, the gist is that the guy who they thought was Nick was this guy from Grulovia, and this was a whole revenge thing like that. I was fine. I really didn't care about the specifics. I did really appreciate the ending, and that it was, the Psychonauts were this big group and they were amazing, and then they kind of disbanded and went their own ways because of their own probably mental health issues, and it kind of took Raz and what we would consider like the new Psychonauts, right, the junior cadets or whatever, to bring them back together. Not only do that, but then also they're kind of the next gen. I thought it was a cool parallel between all of them. And, obviously you start the game with like the kids hate him and they are bullying him. And then by the end, they help him you use them to beat the final boss and stuff. I thought it was the bookend piece of it was really, really cool. The one thing that I still don't know how I feel about it was that Maligula is not, it's not actually a character. It's a part of someone's psyche, and the idea is that everyone has a Maligula. I just thought that was kind of weird writing, because like she was supposed to be this like all powerful thing that like destroyed and was so destructive. Like that seems a little bit weird that it was like something we all have and we just controlled at that one time. That was a little weird writing for me, but other than that, I really like the ending otherwise.
Yeah, I think Jose did a great job explaining. I kind of felt the same way as you two, Chance. It kind of lost me there for a little bit, but overall I felt satisfied with the ending, and I really loved like the very final scene. They get promoted from, I think it was junior interns to junior cadets, is like what Jose said. And he's like, I'll take it. And then it just ends right there.
Yeah.
Cracked up right there. Loved it. Love Psychonauts. So I'll start us off with the review real quickly here. I said pros, the characters, the acting, the themes, the level designs, the art styles, the platforming gameplay. This just, reaffirms to me that I love platforming games. It's simple combat, but I had fun. Like the whole time I was playing this, I was never not having fun. Just a fun, awesome game. The only cons I would say are collecting those figments sometimes was a little frustrating, but really you don't even have to do that. To me, this is a 9 out of 10. This is one of my games of the year. And I think the biggest compliment I can give to it, besides I knew nothing about these characters before, couldn't care less, would not have played this if it wasn't on Game Pass, I'll admit it, or maybe would have waited until it was on sale. I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to play it, but now I'm a huge Raz fan. I will play Psychonauts as soon as they come out with another one, and I immediately downloaded the original and I started to play the first one on Xbox, and I love it, guys. I kind of want to go back and play Brutal Legend. I'm all in with Psychonauts. I hope that this becomes a staple of Xbox. I feel like they should be a part of the big main groups of games for the Xbox studios.
Double Fine will get to do Thor, right? And you think about all the level design and the different possibilities there.
True, but I mean, I love Raz. I didn't think again, like I knew nothing about it, and I'm a huge fan now. So shout out to Tim Schafer, Double Fine, all you guys. Chance, what would you give Psychonauts? What were your thoughts?
I gave it an 8. I knew you were going to give it a 9, and I was like, that's one step away from a masterpiece, and I was just like,
I've never played anything like it, Chance, and I had fun the whole time, and the art style, and it made me care about characters. And I didn't even mention the junior interns popping in every now and then, like his teacher, the character. They were so well done, every single character. I haven't seen acting like this. I couldn't even tell you, like. It was really well done, and yeah, it's more of a fun, laid back game. But not every game has to be a stupid Mass Effect or Last of Us, or like so serious. Like it can be entertaining in different ways. I thought the acting and just characters were phenomenal. But sorry, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I just it wasn't my thing. Like, and again, I'm really glad that I played it and that you guys talked me into it. And they did the mental health stuff as well as I've seen any other game do it. And I loved, again, I think one thing we haven't talked specifically about were the enemies and how each one was very, very specific and well done. I'd love to know what each of your favorite enemies were. The panic attack one I thought was really well done. Not fun to play against.
Not fun.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say I hated those guys.
But again,
well done. You're right.
Right, like what was the regrets that weighed you down, right? Like it was easy to pop those up, just like it's easy to turn a regret.
Were the little ones were like no? Were those just bad thoughts?
Those were sensors.
Oh, I think I like the sensors.
I like the enablers. I thought that was a cool idea where they were like buffs for the villains and stuff.
Yes, and the commentary around those. Did you hear the things that they would say?
And I actually liked Paper Raz too. He was pretty funny too at times.
Oh
yeah, the little one. Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just probably me being biased that I just can't give it a 9. But probably as good of an 8 as you can get. I don't know.
Yeah,
an 8 plus as you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and we should have a discussion. Well, we'll talk about that later. Jose, go ahead. What were your overall thoughts?
So I'm actually more in the Dan camp. I'll be honest with you. I thought the writing for this game was absolutely incredible, and I don't mean just like it was funny for sure and like well acted, absolutely. But literally the amount of detail that went into like wordplay and puns was unprecedented. Like that alone makes the game worth playing it itself. I thought the story was fun, except that it got a little convoluted at the end with like the villain piece. I thought everything else was really, really actually pretty good. And I thought they did such a good job of focusing on things like addiction and fear and phobia and everything, and still making it very normal. And like, yeah, and relationships were a big part of it. I thought that what we talked about, varied level design. I mean, really every world is so different. It truly is so different for being a platform game, which is great. One thing that I thought was an awesome bonus, and I've talked about it before, is the quick resume. It was so awesome that like I'd get home with like 30 minutes before my wife was getting home, and I was like, ooh, I can jump on and get a chunk done, and then quit, and I can go finish it later. I know that wasn't totally fixed in terms of like the cloud gaming thing, but if that had been, that would have been super sweet. You know what I'm saying? That's just icing on the cake. One thing I also thought was really cool that I still don't think we see enough in games was representation. There was like a disabled main character in a wheelchair that Bob and Helmet were a homosexual couple. Like that was awesome, man. Like such a cool piece of the game. And it wasn't overdone.
And not only that, but like
to
just
make a
diverse
spectacle.
characters.
It was
in
diverse.
General. Yeah.
So cool, man. And then I thought one of the pros was the fact that the money regenerated. I really liked that. I know that you could turn that into grinding right away, but I was like, great. I'm going to take 30 minutes, get all the money I need, buy what I need, and then I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game. I really like that aspect of games. My two cons, I didn't love reassigning the powers. I liked that there were a variety of them, but it was a pain to like mid-thing pause shift. I didn't like that piece of it. I also thought it was just a tad long as a game. Like if it had been like 2 hours shorter, I think it would have been perfect. And with the same thing Dan said, the Figment thing, I honestly, like I was doing really good for about 2 levels. And then I was like, nope. As soon as I got to the psychedelic level, I got close. I think I missed 3 of them. And I was like, I'm not going back. Like it's just over for me. But I want to say the other thing I really liked was, I don't know if you actually read through the whole credits. I watched all the credits, and I'm happy to be a contributor to the Psychonauts game. I don't know if you saw that there in the list, right there in the middle. I am officially a contributor to the game. So, no, overall my score was a 9. I did give it a 9 because I genuinely enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I also love that kids could play it.
Yes, and great point. You can play it in front of your kids. Anybody can play this game. That is a great point.
The one thing I thought was interesting too was we talked about the graphics one time, how like it was weird how some things were really graphically strong and some things weren't. The one thing I thought was weird that Raz's face was not super high def. His expressions are great and his acting was great, and his helmet is so like detailed and everything, but it was just weird that his face feels so flat.
I don't know. I feel like you guys are just so down on the graphics. Like,
no, I love the graphics. I just thought that was a weird, because for as much as they zoom in on him and they focus on the expressions, go look at it. It's like it looks like
I loved it.
But here's what I'll say, because I was a critic of them to begin with, right? And the writing and the level design and all that stuff and everything that game was in terms of a universe and a medium to tell a story, it made up for those graphics. And I compare it to, because I was also playing Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at the same time, right, which has graphics as good as it gets, and right, like those great graphics don't necessarily make a great game. They definitely don't make a great story. They tell a story in a different way, but you didn't need to have that. When you had such amazing writing and voice acting, you didn't need some of those other things. So after looking back on it, it probably wouldn't have mattered to me if it was, and I don't even know what it would have looked like if it was Assassin's Creed level graphics. So.
Yeah. I don't think it would have been the same game. I don't think we would appreciate it as much.
No, I'll also, and super nitpicky and stupid, but I loved that the achievement tracker worked on it.
Yeah, it did. Again, everybody go play Psychonauts 2, one of Xbox's best games. It's also available on PlayStation as well. It is worth every second. Just a joy to play, especially if you love platformers and something that's different and fun. Shout out to Double Fine.
Shout out to Double Fine.
This makes me so happy that they're part of Xbox, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Gentlemen, let's close the show like we always do. We're going to skip the good old days this week. Who would like to tell me what their best food they had this week was?
I can start if you want.
Let's do it.
So one tiny honorable mention tonight, because the girls were not feeling well, and I was trying to find something that I knew they would eat. Me and Victoria had Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, which were delicious, but the girls, that's like a little high level for kids. I was walking through the store and I saw bagel bites, and I was like, I bet you they'd love some bagel bites. And of course, they had like 2 or 1.5. And so I was like, we're not letting these bad boys go to waste. And man, they're good. Just like, they're actually not that good. The bagels are actually pretty terrible, and it's definitely processed. But man, it's a little quick pick.
And you could eat 4,000 of them.
Oh my God. A whole box
like if
from
they're
Costco.
just sitting there and you didn't see how many you were eating, just like
Jose, did you get the ones from Costco where it's like a tray of them that you heat up? Allie will just heat that up and eat them all herself. Like that's what she loves to do.
I've done that before many times in my life. No, I was at King Supers because I was getting some other groceries. But the best thing I had this week was last weekend. We were running some errands and we hadn't been there in a long time. We went to Smash Burger and I just got a good old like double smash and the smash fries with like the olive oil and the rosemary. Man, it was just, I ate the whole thing. It wasn't too messy, but it was like just messy enough that it was really enjoyable. Shout out to Smash Burger, is real good, man.
Chance, what about you?
Well, as the nerd chat knows, I went to Yard House tonight and was blessed with seeing a Lamborghini out front, which was so cool. And there were all the valet guys were taking pictures of it and stuff and like with it. And I was like, I don't think you're supposed to do that as a valet guy. I was like, I'm not offended, whatever. But, man, I just can't even imagine. And then of course, Ashley's like, how much does that car cost? And so I had to look it up and I was like, well, as much as our house. Fun. But so I'm a little disappointed I didn't get my Nashville hot honey chicken, because we were excited because I was like, oh, does happy hour end at 5 or 6? And it ends at 6. And we're like, great, because we got there at like 5. And I was like, oh, thank God, I didn't want to miss happy hour. And then we screwed around and got way too many of the half-price appetizers at happy hour because we got the Miguel's queso. I know, we got Miguel's queso.
Did you get the Korean barbecue?
No.
That's my standard, Chance.
Oh, but that's not on the happy hour. So that's what we...
It's an appetizer.
Yeah, but not all their appetizers are half price. And so we got that. We got a pizza. And
do you get the peas, the hibachi peas or whatever they're good.
I know. I'm sure it all is, but that queso comes with like its own like taco shell things and tortilla chips, and it was so good. And then of course I was like eating off of Cora's pizza, and then she came back and she's like, okay, you guys, like, what else are you gonna order? And Ashley and I looked at each other, we're like, we're both already full, we'll get some chicken wings, I guess. And so I didn't get to get it, but it was still delicious.
You should have ordered it to go for lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, you gotta have it fresh. You gotta just buy it fresh there. Yeah. Speaking of queso, Chance, I'm glad you brought that up. I went to Chipotle. Got my standard, I'll have burrito. Can I have some chicken? Oh, can I make that a double? Pro strat, of course, as always. You do the same thing with the salsa too. They're always, and this woman was pushy. She's like, "What kind of salsa is? What do you want? What else? What else?" And I'm like, "I'll do the green. What else?" I'd also like corn, please. You got to separate them, otherwise they jip you if they tell them all at once. So, I tried the queso. The first time they came out the queso, it was not good.
It was terrible.
I'm pretty sure they revised it. Am I correct?
Totally, because it used to be yellow, too.
Yes. It is a lot better. I would get this, and I would even put it on my burrito. I think next time I'm contemplating putting it in my burrito, Illegal Pete style. Shout out to Chipotle. I'm a big fan of the queso now, and I think I'm going to get a large one. Skip the cheese on my burrito, and just dip my burrito in the queso next time. So
I got some queso in the fridge right over there. Some from Chipotle. I'm going to go get it after this.
I love it, gentlemen. Well, this has been Xbox Record This, episode 22. You can find us on all social media at Xbox Record This. You can check out the website, xboxrecordthis.com. Send us your best food that you've had. Send us top 5 list. Follow Chipotle Bear for his Halloween adventures. You can find me at Daddy D Wally. You can find Chipotle Bear at Chipotle_Bear on Twitter. Bubble Boy, we don't know where he is. Sometimes he's on Twitter or Instagram. We're really not sure. Have fun playing all those video games. And as always, gentlemen, See you online.
See you online.
See you online.
Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at Daddy Diwali on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.